somebody told Nathan that he was putting on weight. Isn't that so mean? And he's like, the camera adds 10 pounds.
Well, we're here at the International Balloon Fiesta, and we've had a really fun thing happen this week. We discovered that Marissa and Nathan and Hensley from Less Junk More Journey are also here in the RV park. So we've invited them over to have a little tour of our coach, and we're going to sit down together and answer a couple of questions. They should be knocking on the door any minute. We heard your voices. Hi. Welcome to our on wheels.
Hey guys.
Pointing cameras at each other.
It was expected. Yeah.
That's what happens when you got vloggers.
This is great to be able to hang out with you guys in our RV here at Albuquerque and just answer some questions that you guys had.
Yeah, and one of the questions that was submitted that we thought was really interesting to talk to is community, right? And how do you meet up with folks on the road?
Yeah.
And how did we actually meet? Because we didn't plan this. This is really, yeah. We were always coming here to the Balloon Festival. We've had a reservation for a few months, and you guys...
7 or 8 months, I'd say.
I think this was on our list, like, when we first started RVing, because we've only been doing it like a year and a half, and we booked this like a year ago. We knew, we were like, this was top of our list, and we wanted to do it, and it's been awesome.
And we follow each other on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so I think it was one of our followers said, oh, Let's Junk More Journeys there, when we saw some balloon photos, because we came in early on Wednesday. These guys came in on Friday in the crazy traffic.
Mistake.
Yeah.
Took you a day.
There's a tip for you. If you're coming to Balloon Festival, come in early.
Yeah.
We rocked on Wednesday. We went straight to the front, checked in, drove to our site, done. And
we thought we were ahead of the game, but
you all had,
we were
what,
not.
2 hours?
2 hours.
Oh.
Well, maybe the people behind you waited longer, so maybe you were ahead.
Yeah,
maybe we were.
Maybe.
But it was really Instagram that, we came to realize we were each here at the same time and reached out, and that's a big part of how we meet people on the road, is just by following other people on social media, and then when you see you're going to be in the same area, reach out and say, hey.
Yeah, heighten your awareness.
Yeah, so that's definitely one way.
Because it's a great way to see what people are doing on the road, because it is hard to keep up with people when you're traveling and seeing what they're doing, because I never would have known, you guys were here. I'm like, oh, they're here.
Yeah.
So,
Julie's high extrovert, so she ends up reaching out a lot to folks. Actually, when we used to have our dog, we used to walking the dog, you meet a lot of people. Or we find that if you're in a campground that's membership based, you end up, the people are more into outreach and meeting people. But those are, or things like our village. I don't know if are you guys on our village?
Well, we're on our village, but we just haven't.
We never remember to check in.
Our keyword is initiative. We just don't take the initiative. We don't necessarily reach out. We don't necessarily take the time to check in, keep our profile up to date.
But you guys are introverts, right?
We are.
Mark is too.
But once we meet somebody in a smaller setting, now a large setting where there's just tons and tons of people, it becomes overwhelming for us as introverts. But in a small setting, like talking to you guys, it's great. We really like meeting people like that.
Because when people reach out, we're always love to get
together.
But I think we're never the ones who kind of take. And I think that's something that this experience has taught us, coming to a RV. I guess because this is very RV based here at the Fiesta, and that's the first time we've ever been to anything like that, and we're like, wow, that's over half of what makes this so exciting. If you're traveling and you're just like with your family, it's awesome, but then you have an even bigger family that you get to meet.
You are. It's a good comment about the bigger families. I feel like the RV community is very much a family, because they really look out for and support each other, because they know it's harder to get support from others. And I find it a very supportive community. And here, especially the full-time RVers are really supportive.
Yeah.
And like you said, here an event like this is especially so, because we're here to meet up with the X-Scapers, and it's convergence for that. And we had maybe 20 rigs here, but this is a 2,000 rig campground that we're in, and there's 8,000 rigs come in for this event. So this is a big RV event, like you said. So.
And this is our first RV rally, so it's not only our first time at the Fiesta, but we've been on the road 2 years and 3 months, and we've never been to an RV rally before. We've wanted to, but it just, the dates and the times and the places just didn't line up with our itinerary, because we planned head further out than you guys. We're not quite as
you guys roll on the seat of your pants.
A little bit,
Well, and that's the problem. It's kind of, we want community, we want to be at the rallies or things like that, but it just kind of gets pushed to the back. And like even here, I meant to join. I actually meant to join Escapees and come with Escapers. I meant to, and it's just we got just a list, and it's like, well, I'll do it later, and then before long, the deadline already passed, to turn that stuff in, and I mean, so. We're kind of by we're here and we can come over here, but we're still in a different area.
They allow us to.
They're like tag along.
We put the puppy dog face on. And
you can come.
Have they got free wine? Yeah. We'll be there. But you also travel with Hensley, so I mean, you kind of, as a family, I imagine it's easier to just stay in your own little nucleus, whereas we don't have kids, and so we're probably more inclined to go and
that's part of it too. It's tough, especially when we meet people without kids. I mean, there's that awkward of our kid's screaming and she has certain needs that we need to give her attention for. And, I think it does add, but it's not an excuse though. I mean, we still need, especially meet families with kids for sure too.
Yeah,
for her and us. Yeah.
Well, we find too when we stay in national parks and state parks, or if we're boondocking like we are now, there just isn't as much of an opportunity to meet other people because generally they're there for a shorter period of time, and those people are often on vacation and often less full-timers, and we find more full-timers. So they're there for their family vacation.
You still meet them, but boy, it's a lot when there's a higher percentage or higher density of full-timers. It's definitely more so.
Yeah. And we've met quite a few in our village, so I don't always remember to check in, but I try to remember most of the time, and it's really handy, just being able to do it on my iPhone. But once I check in and I can see who's there, and you can read other people's profile and see whether or not you think you have some common ground. And we've had a few people reach out to us and say that they were in the campground, and we've ended up having a happy hour, and that's been great.
Happy hours are very common.
I think that's one of the best parts of RVing, though, is meeting new people. And that's something I guess we didn't even think would, we're like, oh, we want to do this to spend more time as a family and to see, to see the world. But it's like, I think it's been surprising that I'm like, no, the best part is meeting the new people and and getting to explore with them and learn about life with them. And so
I think on one hand, people are concerned that you'll lose the social aspect of this, when really I think it stretches you. It can even stretch you even more with the social aspect because you're constantly meeting new people, learning how to interact. Yeah. And not just that, Hensley's not old enough really to do a lot of that, but she's still learning some of that. So in a sense, when you've got a 9-to-5 job and you go the same routine, see the same exact people all day, with RVing you're seeing different people and you're learning how to stretch yourself socially.
You have to put yourself out there.
And I think that's a really interesting point too, Nathan, is that because you're meeting new people all the time, not the same people, when you're in your former circles, in your smaller life, people have their preconceived ideas of who you are. And so you have to, part of when you're meeting up with them, you're fulfilling their expectation. But when you're out on the road and you're meeting new people all the time, it's as if you get a chance to reinvent yourself more often and be a more true and more authentic self when you have your conversations, which allows you to dig into deeper conversations quicker than if you don't. So that
was one of my biggest fears before we hit the road, because I am an extrovert and I'm Australian, and when I moved to Colorado from Australia, I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any friends, and so I kind of started from scratch in 2008. So I worked hard to build that community, and I was actually quite terrified of leaving that community, even more than leaving Australia, because those friends, I mean, they're friends for life, my Aussie friends, but here I was worried that they wouldn't stay in contact so much, and some definitely have, and some of those friendships have strengthened. But it took about 3 months, I think. The first 3 months, I think, were a little slow socially for us, but after the 3-month mark, it really started to pick up and change, and that made a difference. I think you've got to give it time. It's not going to happen overnight. But I do think rallies are a great way to meet people. Yeah. Like, had we known before, we might have made more of an effort to get to another rally sooner, because
you build your network faster, so then you have more likelihood of meeting up with other people when you have more people to meet up with.
And there can be rallies for your coach brand, like Newmar has rallies, and Tiffin has rallies, and Winnebago, like Airstreams, whatever kind of rig you've got, there are rallies for most brands. So there's that as well.
And I didn't think of, I mean, we've been a part of RV clubs for the discounts, but I mean, you're talking about with Thousand Trails, for instance. I mean, you become familiar with people that are staying at Thousand Trails more often.
We've made a lot of friends through that network.
We have.
Yeah.
So there's a social aspect there of that we
We've never thought of
Never
that,
thought
actually.
of that, honestly.
Because we keep wondering,
Yeah.
we're like, why are we not meeting people?
Well, we're kind of in the woods, you know.
When you go dry camp in the middle of the forest, you're not going to meet a lot of people.
It was a secondary benefit for us
It was a
because
secondary
we joined because it was economical and it was a great way as a full-timer to keep our camping costs more affordable. And then we ended up upgrading our membership and then, wrote a blog post on that. That's helped a lot of people. And we'll be pulling into a campsite at night, like in North Carolina, and there's some guy comes out with his torchlight saying, hey, I got my membership because of that article you wrote, thanks. And we've met a few people, like Eric and Kayla, a couple of coaches down, saying that's how we met them and became friends, Glenn.
Yeah,
So we've actually made a lot of friends
we have made
through
a lot of friends.
not only being a member of the camping membership, but people that just appreciate the depth of the content in the article and reaching out and they become friends.
Yeah.
Or even
So
just being a YouTuber.
That too.
That has opened up a big gateway for us, I would have to say, wouldn't you?
Oh,
I mean,
well, that's been the primary way we've met people's problems.
Right, you've got common
Yeah.
ground. Immediate
yeah,
connection.
I can't imagine this experience if it wouldn't have been for YouTube. We would probably still be in our RV by ourselves over there.
I don't know what we'd be doing.
I mean, I think that's a big thing with sticking with it. Is because you get lonely and you need. I mean, even though we've got each other, but we need that, and so this has been so good getting to meet new people.
And so serendipitous because it wasn't, and that's one of the things too is that you can only plan so much, and then you just got to keep some space open for serendipity to happen.
It's very true.
Met you guys here this week. We met Technomatia in the desert, boondocking in the middle of nowhere. That was crazy last year, and they just
we need that to happen.
Yeah, it was crazy. One people was like, "Oh, it'd be cool to meet those guys one day," and then. In the desert, and they actually came and knocked on our door. And we was like, wow! Had a couple of happy hours and coach tours with them too. So it's kind of, and one more, the RV geeks, Peter and John. When we were in Australia, they were in Australia at the same time in March, and we had drinks by Sydney Harbour. But that was because we were following each other on Instagram.
Full-time RVers from America, in Sydney.
It was actually a follower that told us they were going to Australia. So that's when you guys, as you followers who follow multiple RVers and specifically YouTubing RVs, and let us know what the other's doing because we don't always get time to.
They're
watch
like
all
putting
this.
the puzzle pieces together.
They are. They're like, hey,
They're like matchmakers.
You guys are like
You would really like Mark and Julie.
And so that's been fun. That's how when other people just let us know you're going to be in the area, and then we can reach out direct them. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
See, there you're like little catalysts.
We should wrap up.
So if you guys have any questions for us, for Marissa and Nathan, and pop them down below, and we'll be happy to answer those. And definitely check out these guys' video. We're going to put some links down below because we're going to go and visit their coach and answer some more questions. And we're going to put the links to that down below too, so you can go and check that out. This has been a really great chat. Thanks so much for coming over.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and I hope we get to cross paths again. And meet Hensley. We didn't get to meet her. She's been...
You'll meet her.
We haven't told you yet. Since we met you and we like you, you can watch her tonight. Come over here and we'll pick her up. And, yes. This is actually an interview.
Thanks, guys. Till next time. Cheers.
Cheers.